Hello and welcome. I am so excited to be here with you, and I'm very grateful for this platform that connects each one of us to new opportunities. I'm Jana Masik, and I'm your host of LinkedIn Live, Powering Unique You. And today I want to explore with you how this COVID 19 and all the things that related to that, all of the things that considered to that are affecting us. And I want to start with a story, and I want to take you back to 2009. All right. So 2009, I was I was expecting my third child, and I was home cooking some Russian borscht, waiting for my husband to come back home. And the economy was not stable, but we were optimistic. We just bought a house a year ago, and we were very excited to meet our new arrival soon. And that evening, he comes home and he brings the news that he was laid off and he lost his job. And that was a devastation, I think, for him more than for me, because he is a provider and he wants to take care of his family. So I wanted to, all right. So I wanted to support him, and I wanted to encourage him. And it did take him some time to recover and consider what his new path may look like and what is going to happen in the economy. And I was very, very encouraged that he decided to go on and went back to school and get a degree in technology, in the lab technology. And after he finished his school, which was quite a few years, he actually got a job, and now he has very stable job, and and in a completely different industry where he was before. So I'm sharing the story with you is that right now we are in this situation, and you may be affected in one way or the other. We are all in a way affected by the things that are happening and unfolding in front of us. But I want to encourage you not to give up, and especially if you or your spouse or someone you know lost their jobs, which is very sometimes difficult and can be very devastating. So I want to encourage you to keep looking at the positive things. And what I've learned is what we focus on grow, what we focus on expands, what we focus on multiplies. And with all the media and everything that happens around us right now, it seems that the only thing that is expanding is fear. The only thing that is expanding is, worry. The things that are expanding are anxieties. And those are not the positive things that you want to expand in your life. So I feel we need to be cautious. We need to certainly follow the directions and keep everybody safe. And at the same time, we need to shift our focus a little bit from all of this negativity into opportunities to reflect, into opportunities to readjust. It's a big readjustment for all of us, especially for those that have children and families and working from home and trying to navigate everything together. And focus on the things that we want to grow, focus on the things that we want to multiply, and be conscious about our choices, and especially about our thoughts. And that's the reason why I wanted to share with you today something that I've recently read about consciousness. And I also found that David Hawkins has developed this, Professor Hawkins has developed this theory, or this work that he worked on, and there's levels of consciousness. And I found it very interesting and also wanted to see how it may apply to where we are right now. Okay. And just wanted to check in to make sure you are here. And if you are watching live, please say hi and feel free to ask me questions. I'll see if I can get some notes and also answer your questions. And if you're watching it on replay, say hi anyway. I would love to stay connected with you and get to know you a little bit more. So I want to share this consciousness levels and how these consciousness levels may affect us right now where we are, right, with this situation that we're in. And I just want to share my screen with you in just a few minutes. So there's five areas of or levels of consciousness that was identified by Dr. Hawkins. The first one is inaction. And let me see if I can share my screen with you and you can actually follow through. It will be visual for you. So I hope you can see the screen right now. So the first one is actually inaction. And what inaction is showing here, these are your levels, right? So the first one, the very bottom one, is the feeling or the level of consciousness is shame. And shame is really very close to almost giving up. You almost, thinking about finishing your life. And none of us want to be in that realm. And certainly if you find yourself in that realm where you feel it's just too much, I don't know how I can go on in life like this, I want you to reach out for help. Don't feel that you are stuck there and the only way out is to end your life. That's just not none of the things that happen to us. I believe, not possible for us to overcome. There are always ways for us to come out of situation. And then the second next level to it is a guilt. And guilt is above shame, where you may have thoughts that you do not want to live on this earth anymore, but you also find that you really have a hard time going past and moving forward. And then apathy, which is feeling of hopelessness and victimized. It's a state where you feel helpless. And, maybe there might be some challenges for some of us where we're going to have challenges to put food on the table. There's a lot of people that are out of jobs. It's going to be challenged to put food on the table for their children, for their families. It's a serious situation. But again, I want to bring this matter of consideration that there are levels of consciousness and we do not necessarily have to be stuck in those. We have a free will. We have a choice to move forward and to bring ourselves, and to reach out for help and to move forward with our lives. So these are all in this fourth area. These are all in this area of inaction, right? So we talked about shame, guilt, apathy, grief. Grief is where you're constantly sad, you're constantly feeling depression, fear, right? So and all of these feelings, especially fear, I feel, are in a way are imposed through all of the things that are unfolding on us. So and yes, it is okay to sometimes consider and think, okay, well, there's a lot of life-changing situations going on, but I also would like to encourage you to recognize where you are and to do everything possible to reach out. As community, we can all help each other. We can all find a way to uplift each other. And I believe that we can actually support each other. And looking back through, when my husband didn't have a job and when my husband and my family, was on the food stamps, and I was staying in the line to get food stamps with my kids. It was a difficult time. But I can also say that there are people that were helping us and we went through that. So I'm very, very moved that we can be here for each other together. I'm getting emotional, but I truly believe there's a lot of negativity around and we can help each other to be uplifted. So those are in action. You're kind of frozen in those in those feelings. And if you recognize that you are there, I want to encourage you to move yourself up, to find some bright things in your life, to find some gratitude in your life that can help you to move forward. And the next block is hyperactivity, right? And that goes into desire, anger, and pride. Desire is something that actually not really positive. It's something where you may fall, you're numbing your feelings, and you may be, looking to overeat, or, or smoke, or have drugs, or, you have the things that you feel there's just so many things around you that you need to numb your feelings in some way, one way or the other. So that represents a desire. And it's sometimes it's difficult to face the reality that we're in, and numbing ourselves does not help us to move forward, through those challenges that we're facing. And then anger is a frustration where you feel your desires are not met, you're just stuck, you feel you're in hatred, you're just frustrated. And it's really an unhappy place to be in. And then pride is where you kind of feel good about yourself, but you're depending on other circumstances, and you're also depending on others to, uplift you, and you feel good about it. So those are all in the space of force, and those levels are in, I can describe them as all of those feelings, and we may have one of those feelings in one area of our life and another one in another area of our life, because we as humans are so multifaceted. We're not, a simple robots, where there's just so many layers that can affect us, and can affect how we perceive and how conscious we are about where we are. And what I like about what that stood out between this force and power is courage. And courage is something that can be your strength. Courage is something that can help you to stand up and to figure out how to move forward. It may be, one moment at a time. Sometimes it is one moment at a time. Sometimes it's one day at a time. Sometimes it's okay. We just had this week, I've seen a lot of memes, people saying it's been the longest week of my life, right? We're just so confined, and we are so restricted in many ways. So the courage is really to find that the life challenges are there for us to learn and grow, instead of being overwhelmed and shutting down. So I encourage myself and you to identify that and to tap into your courage. And then the next one is really neutrality and willingness and acceptance. And this goes into happiness and productivity. So neutrality is where you leave, accept, and you're willing to learn, you're willing to move forward, and you feel you work through things. You feel that even the challenges that come to you can be managed and can be worked out. So what I found interesting, and you can look it up, this level of consciousness by David Hawkins, and read a little bit more about that. But what I found it interesting that he said, it's not very easy for us to progress very fast in those areas. And he also had a way to measure those levels of consciousness. And when I look at it, I believe that we can be fluid. It may not be as easy for us to get out of anger quickly. However, if we focus on getting out of anger, recognizing it, and being conscious of where we are and how we feel, and finding ways or solutions, then we can make things happen. And we can actually realize that we can bring ourselves, and you can bring yourself, to a higher level of consciousness. And then the peak performance without stress is a reasoning, right? And the reason is it transcends the emotion, and you look at things rationally. And then the highest one is love, joy, and peace, and then enlightenment as the last one. So those are, really something that we can thrive for. Those are the emotions or feelings that we can all that you and I can all thrive to manifest more in our lives, to generate more in our lives. And it's interesting that the power, I believe, the power can be generated, right? And we have the intention, we have the focus, and we have a desire. We can generate that power. We can generate those feelings within us. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And talking about those feelings and talking about and looking at how your day goes and looking at how your work situation goes, right? This week, for me particularly, going into this new week, my kids are starting school, homeschooling from home. And it's a lot of adjustments. It's a lot of changes. It's a lot of fluid things that are happening at the same time. And it's not very easy to navigate. It's not like cut and dry. Here's your solution. Here's how you can work it out, right? And especially if you have children, none of the children are the same. You have to have a unique approach to each one of the children. And then there's a matter of you need to be productive for your work, right? And then there's a matter you need to take care of your household. So there's a lot of things that can come and become overwhelming and can become paralyzing. And, you can find yourself where you're like in inaction. You're like, I don't know what is next. Or maybe you try to do it all. Like I try to do it all and be perfectionist in all areas. And then I burn myself emotionally, mentally, and physically. And my system would just shut down. So that's something that each one of us would need to find out how to work it out best. That works for your family, for your unique situation, and for your case. So hi, Ben. Yes, thank you for your note. Well, I can say my children have been home from school for about 2 weeks, and we have not really started schooling them. This Monday we will have a virtual program for them, and right now I have 4 of them. Yes, I have 4 of them, 1 in the middle and 3 in the elementary, in school, and it's going to be a very interesting arrangement in how to manage their schooling, help them be successful with that, and also making sure that I'm as productive as I can be for my job. So it's a challenge, I think, for each one of us. For those that have been working from home, and I have worked from home previously, it's a challenge. It's also needs to be we need to be disciplined. Sometimes I feel we expect our children to be so well behaved and so well disciplined, but when we are placed into constraints and situations that are not comfortable for us, you realize I lack so much discipline. So it's developing this discipline from within, and it's also developing the anchors. Like we all have certain anchors in life that are kind of set in a way, or schedule or rhythm, where we would wake up a certain time, we have a certain routine, we go to work. So when you have this change in many aspects of your life, those anchors may all be just knocked down, and it's not very easy to establish new anchors that will help you function optimally. So for me, I think it's evaluating and saying, what anchors can I establish for myself that are going to be simple, that I can make sure I can stick to that, and I can be self-disciplined in the most important areas. And then also not to forget, physical activities, not to forget to just have a bonding time and have a fun time. So all of those things are important to consider as we transition right now. And each of us have a certain way of, accepting the change and transitioning through this period of time. So Jamie is saying hi. Hi, Jamie. And Ben is saying, yes, we expect many more of our children than we expect of ourselves in terms of behaviors. That's so true. And a lot of times as parents, for me, I think the biggest training that I've been receiving in my life is really a parent, how to be a parent. And I feel you can read, hundreds of books on parenting, but then God would give you a child that has no manual and you would have to figure out what works today may not work tomorrow. And when you have more than one, it's a fun challenge. You get to be challenged every day, but you also learn a lot about yourself. You learn how to humble yourself, and you learn to realize that I may say things, but I may not behave the way. So it's like a leadership, right? Like leaders want to be leading people and making sure that people are accountable, in our professions, in our careers, in our companies. As leaders, we want to encourage people and inspire people. The best way to do that is really by behaving it and showing it and doing it yourself. And the same with children. I feel it's if you say what you do, if you show it, if you are the one to show them, they're watching us every day. They're watching us, what we do, and they follow and they copy what we do. So it's do the more that you want to see others do. That's an interesting approach that I've recently read. So I hope that this has been beneficial for you. I do have some interviews that are going to be coming up to the next couple of weeks. I'm very excited for that. So I'm going to be bringing you amazing guests. Today, I just wanted to have a conversation with you. And if you found it valuable, please let me know. And also, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them and stay connected with you. Well, you have an amazing rest of this weekend and phenomenal week ahead. Let's all encourage each other. And I believe that by sharing our real life stories, we can help each other, and we can, help each other to empower ourselves and to change this world for better. So we're all in this together, and I wish you all the best.